I drop 3 flares. Ready? So drop 1.
High in the air, halfway around the world from where they were born, young Americans drop flares on a city for protection against the enemy. The flares are neutral. They illuminate friend and foe, citizen and stranger together in this strangest of cities, Saigon. By day, Saigon bursts forth, its people and its pedicabs all mixed, its values and its cultures confused, and its sidewalks aswarm with commerce.
Give me money, huh? Hey, give me 10 days. Give me 10 days. Hey, give me 10 days. Why you not give me 10 days? We need money. We need money.
No more money.
I can give me 10 more.
All right, 10 more.
Cây mè đánh đu thằng Tây nhảy dù đi go quăng súng quăng ngay thằng Tây nhà vô thằng Tây chết liền thằng lằn cục đuôi.
80 years ago, Rudyard Kipling penned a warning to the Anglo-Saxon people. He wrote that east is east and west is west, and never the twain shall meet. Well, never is a long time, Rudyard Kipling.
Good morning, Vietnam! Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome back once again to the second portion of music on a Saturday Dawnbreaker. We'll be here until 9 o'clock. Hope you can join us all the way, for without you, we here would be awfully lonesome, you know. This is your host, Army Specialist Kramer Has, the Record Man.
Hit, hook, toast.
When not using a Mach-V vehicle, the taxi cab is a way to travel. Remember, stay off motor scooters and cars that are not taxi cabs.
Here's headline news. Good morning. President Johnson held a news conference in Washington last night, said, among other things, that if more American troops are needed in Vietnam, they'll be there.
More soldiers did come, many of them to Saigon, this strangest of strange cities, where a man on a bicycle could bring the war right to your doorstep, as Dan Rather reports.
There is still sporadic firing, but we're beginning to piece together at least part of the story. Apparently, some Viet Cong tried to get in with bicycles into the area of an American billet just behind the Saigon TX. A South Vietnamese policeman gave his life at that gate, and together with some American MPs, repulsed the bicycle-riding Viet Cong. Then the suicide squad, which had intended to set off their mind at the American billet, was chased on down the street. American MPs at the other end of the street began firing, spraying the street with considerable small arms and automatic weapons fire. In the resulting confusion, and there was considerable confusion in the wake of this, American military men came pouring in on all sides, most of the military police, with a lot of crossfire, absolutely impossible to tell whether any of the bicycle riders were firing on the Americans.
This much is known. Some of those shot were shot by Americans, but it could be that they were some of the civilians trying to attack the American billet. The war on Saigon streets is every bit as confusing and hard to follow as the war in the field.
Saigon's Tan Son Nhut Airport is the funnel for United States aid to Vietnam.
The time is 5:06 in the quarter. We have the about 147. Check the jet passing. Clear for takeoff runway 25.
We are allies. South Vietnam supplies the battlefield, and we supply endless streams of young men, vast squadrons of planes, the machinery of war, and the money. The money is staggering. $20 billion this year for planes and guns and bombs, and $525 million more for economic aid. That amounts to more than $1,000 for every man, woman, and child, including the Viet Cong. There is more money where that came from, and we keep pumping it into Saigon. Saigon is the city where we will find out if it is possible to get our money's worth in Asia. But the ironic thing is that the people in Saigon who take the money do not entirely welcome it. Ton That Thien, managing editor of the Vietnam Guardian.
One high American said of the embassy here, said, well, we can buy everyone in this country. No need to worry. But can you really buy them? Have you really bought them? I don't think you have. We pretend. We pretend because we need the money or we don't want to be beaten. But in ourselves, we don't accept. You cannot buy anyone. Not only the Vietnamese, anyone in the world. You can win only a friendship by giving a friendship in exchange, and love by giving a love in exchange. And this is the thing that the things Americans don't understand. Not yet. Not yet.
This city, where 35,000 Americans now learn the hard lessons that go with great power, has taught others before us. The Chinese, the French, the Japanese, all came and went in their turn, and there is hardly a trace of any of them left behind. Avenues and architecture, to be sure, but the people, the 1,700 Frenchmen, even the 700,000 Chinese, are lost among 2 million war refugees from the Vietnamese countryside. War and the spoils of war have made Saigon the world's most crowded and chaotic city. If you superimposed Paris and London on Tokyo, you'd have an idea of how crowded it is. 143,000 people per square mile, 3 million in all, in a city planned as a graceful colony for 500,000. Hundreds of babies are born every day, but 1 in 10 dies in infancy. Millions of people manage to live, but 1 in 6 lives with tuberculosis. That is not at all like Toledo or Jersey City, so the Americans are appalled, and with the best will in the world, they set about raising the standard of living. And then they are baffled when the Vietnamese, who surely ought to be glad to be like people in Toledo, are not necessarily.
This crusade to improve the lives of the Vietnamese, even in spite of the Vietnamese, we have misgivings about the solutions to our problems. You see, there are the solutions to the problems of the poor people, little solutions for our little people. We cannot afford what you want to give us: television, motor cars, air conditioners, nicer house and all that. But we, at this stage, just do not have the means to have these things. So what do people do? Where do they get the money? They steal from their own government, their own people, and they beg from the Americans. So we become a nation of thieves and beggars.
Change money.
You want to change money for...
You have the money 200 now? Yeah.
200 for 100?
Yeah.
You want to do it for MPC or for green?
Yeah, you have MPC.
You have MPC?
Yeah.
In other words, I give you 200 in green, I give you 100 in green, you give me 200 MPC?
Yeah.
If you hang a microphone around the neck of an American passerby in the center of town, it seems that Saigon's heart is made of money, and there's nothing that's not for sale.
Take a real short time now.
Short time, how much?
Maybe 300, maybe
300?
Yeah.
How much is long time?
Say 1 hour. You stay 1 hour?
1 hour, how much?
1 hour, maybe, I don't know, maybe 700, maybe 800.
700, too much.
600, you know.
Too much. What you look like?
Young, I saw you. 16, 17, 18.
This is the postcard Americans send home from Saigon. It's the center of town, the only part most Americans ever see. A great plaza presided over by the Constituent Assembly Building, which is regularly inspected with mine detectors, and garnished by a statue of 2 soldiers. The Vietnamese say the soldier in front is one of theirs, the one hiding behind is American. The Americans say the one behind isn't hiding, he's pushing. In their time, the French built villas which permitted them to imagine they were still living in Versailles. Now that the American time has come, the villas are mostly occupied by Americans. This part of Saigon has all the comforts of home, plumbing and running water, unlike the rest of the city, and some comforts unnecessary at home, like high fences and sandbagged guard posts. Observing this passion for security, the Vietnamese say the Americans have turned Saigon into a zoo and then put themselves in the cages. Eager landowners are building more cages every day, turning out their Vietnamese tenants to accommodate the Americans. Food prices have doubled and redoubled since the Americans arrived, and that upsets the Vietnamese, who in turn try to make up their food money by overcharging the Americans for everything they want to buy.
Number 1, not buy.
What do you want to buy? A monkey, a Ming vase, a camera, or a bottle of bourbon, or a box of Oxidol? You can find it in Saigon. This is not the furtive basement black market of World War II with a few pairs of nylons for sale. This is a robust, multi-million-dollar black market operating in the open, with products from communist China sharing the stalls with goods diverted from the PX or stolen from the Saigon docks. Occasionally, the police come marching in with the announced intention of ridding the city of this shocking illegal menace to the good name of Saigon's merchants. They clear the area without embarrassing arrests, and they round up just enough goods to make a bonfire. It sometimes takes the black market 6 or 8 hours to rise from the ashes. The police may not be very efficient at closing down the black market, but they are extremely efficient in dealing with anti-government demonstrations. John Lawrence reports one example.
The students were protesting the weekend arrest of 5 of their leaders in an earlier demonstration. The 200 youths didn't get a block from their headquarters before they were stopped. They tried to sit down in the street. The district chief of police quickly gave his men the order to use their short wooden truncheons, and the melee was on. A teenage girl falls down. A gang of the police take turns striking her on the back and head. It is the immediate law of riot control. Anyone caught in the path of the police is knocked down and struck with nightsticks. The 200 policemen cleared the street of students in 5 minutes, and then they turned on newsmen. CBS News correspondent Bert Quint, cameraman Keith Kay, and soundman Pham Chan were the first targets. They had not yet taken any pictures, and they were arguing their right to cover the activities of the students and the police. But the police didn't want any pictures taken, and they enforced their will with the clubs. There comes a point in a fight when the distinction becomes blurred between the reasonable use of force and brutality. It can be reported that the CBS News men covering the story stood their ground until it became apparent that in the face of overwhelming strength, it was necessary to retreat.
In all, 6 employees of CBS News were clubbed, beaten, and driven back by police.
Nothing in history compares to Saigon under the Americans, who live with the Vietnamese in a kind of insane normalcy. The Americans have the air of preoccupied travelers with some business to attend to, and not much time for the natives. To the Americans, the Vietnamese are mostly inscrutable, corrupt, and lazy, a curious lot. The Vietnamese, for their part, find the Americans loud, hairy, aggressive, too much in a hurry. Each has picked up a few words of language from the other, but almost no understanding. And each goes his own way through the streets of Saigon, the flawed pearl of the East.
Saigon is a prostitute. Can't you see it? It's written everywhere. The Americans affect us in 2 ways. They are the Sinchos who come here to rescue Vietnam from danger. And they are also the very rich tourists who come, in large numbers, and that upset our life. Whether they like it or not, they want it or not, it upsets our life.
Life can be changed in many ways, for the better or for the worse. Saigon has become a city of contrast, as Bruce Morton reports.
Saigon's major industry is war. There are winners and losers here as on a battlefield. The war rich and the war poor. These are some of the losers. They live mainly on rice. The wholesale price has risen 25% in the last 30 days. Most food prices go up every month. Wounded veterans, a man who's lost both legs or both eyes, gets a pension of his full base salary. For a private, that's about $12 a month, the price of a dinner in a fancy Saigon restaurant. A man with one arm gets half that, the price of lunch. They have little money and little hope. But Saigon has its winners, too. For the winners, it's a new experience. The French used to run things. Saigon's new rich literally have more money nowadays than they know how to spend. So the generals' wives and the ladies who own the nightclubs have a new hobby, the trance. It comes from China, from Buddhism. It's a kind of spiritualism. It used to be practiced by professional mediums who claimed that in a trance they could speak with the voices of the famous dead. Now the rich amateurs have taken over. This trance is given by the owner of a Saigon nightclub. The medium is an army officer's wife. But costumes glitter. All of them are silk, worked with gold and silver brocade. Jewelry is important. The trance starts in the morning, the only free time for nightclub owners, and the lady will go through a dozen costume changes, becoming a dozen famous people of the past before it all ends. Her clothes alone cost over $1,000. Sometimes dancing, sometimes reaching for a stack of money to shower it on the musicians and on the friends who have come to watch with their puzzled Americans in tow. Piles of food, piles of money, La Dolce Vita, Saigon style. And later in the morning, there are cigarettes daubed with opium to make the party a success. The trance is the fad now, the splashy way to show how rich the new rich are. One Vietnamese who's never seen one before wonders, why don't they give all that money to the poor? But the trance is for fun, not charity. It's a winner's game.
The winners can afford parades, but even here, there are losers. This parade turns into chaos, as Morley Safer and Ike Pappas report.
National Day in Saigon, 1966, and all the people are out lining Ton Nhut Boulevard. National Day, grenades, Viet Cong grenades, or mortars, coming in from the other side of the river, and it's causing some panic here. The crowd has broken the ranks, and even some of the members of these rural revolutionary development teams are panicking. It sounds like mortar rounds coming in from the other side of the Saigon River. People taking cover over here, and the rounds seem to be getting closer to Ton Nhut Boulevard here. Watch it. I just heard one go over. There it is. Watch it. Get down. Get down. It just opened up on a group of people waiting to march in the parade. National Police Force. Keep your head down.
This was the block where the mortars fell. They're grabbing suspects, anyone hiding in hallways and hauling them out, just grabbing them. There's a man being put in an ambulance for his own protection. And the incredible thing is that just 2 blocks away, the National Day Parade is still going on.
Kind of order seems to have been restored, but a lot of people are leaving. A lot of people are leaving, pulling out.
This country, it's like a schizophrenic Shangri-La. It's a paradise of paradoxes. You have life going on as usual, and yet there's a war going on at the same time. How many St. Patrick's Day parades have you gone to where they shelled St. Patrick's Cathedral? Not too many, I would say, you know, and the same thing, how many times do you go to the top of the Sixes in New York for dinner and watch the flares as they're shelling Staten Island? It just doesn't happen. The Vietnamese have the same universal aspirations and the same foibles that people do elsewhere. Their first interest is, one, in security, that nobody's going to throw a grenade while they're taking their kids to watch the Sunday parade, and that while they go shopping, they're not going to get zapped. And that's no different from the aspirations of anybody in Zanesville, Ohio, or any other town in the United States. The differences are not the thing that fascinates, but the universality of people. They're the same the world over. People are people.
anh chàng người ta thích chi mê chơi, đèn mời ca càng xa vào trời. Hoan hô chúng ta cùng ca, chúng tôi cùng anh rất nhiều rồi, chúng tôi cùng anh rất nhiều rồi.
People are people, but there are too many of them in Saigon. Too many for the water supply and the sewage system, and far too many sick for the hospitals. For 3 million people, there are 100 doctors.
Basically, modern plumbing would do more for this city than all the neurosurgeons you could import into the place, you know, in terms of preventing disease. Plague, cholera, smallpox, typhoid, dysentery. It has every conceivable infectious disease that you can imagine. And this is a much more potential threat in terms of this city than are the VC. Just killing Viet Cong is not the key to winning the war. It's our commitment to this country to help the people realize these basic desires and these basic needs that everybody has.
Bao lâu rồi? Dạ nay cũng 9 ngày rưỡi nay. Viet Cong.
Viet Cong.
Bom. Mất hết nhà rồi, không có nhà nữa.
No house.
So they live in a cemetery.
What village?
Cong Duộc.
Cong Duộc. And the Viet Cong destroyed a
They bombed
house
another
10 years
house.
ago, and so they came to Saigon and lived in a sampan for the past 10 days.
Đậu trước nhà mình, nếu xong đi đợi phía đầu tiên chút xíu. 8 children.
8 children. 8 children.
Gan nhỏ
And
chứ? Gan nhỏ.
all tiny.
If the Viet Cong destroy your house, or if the Americans do, you might end up in Cho Ray Hospital, the largest in Saigon. It has no running water, and it often runs out of other things, like soap and electricity and drugs. When patients move in, their families move in too to feed them and care for them.
We supervise their care, but their families, this is part of their tradition in their hospitals. Their families stay with them, and I don't think you could get them away. The ones I worry about are the orphans. She was injured with a grenade. We have a lot of this in Saigon. It's peaceful Saigon. Like every day there's 1 or 2 incidents like this. She's a beautiful little girl, isn't she? She's mấy tuổi? 13 tuổi. She's 13. Thân gì? Me? Em học ở đâu?
Ở tại
Trung Quân. In her town village, Trung Quân. She goes to school. They all go to school, you know. How was she injured?
Bị máu hả? Bị gì? Bị miệng hả? Cái nhỏ hả?
She was with a grenade. Yeah, and mortar. Mortar. You see, most of these children have never known what it is to be without a war. They were born after the war started, and they accept it. Sometimes it's very difficult, except when I come to work, to remember there is a war. But when I see the children, it's very real to me. I look at them and I'm sick because it had to be done. It's a war like all wars, and you just look at them and just pray that God won't condemn us too harshly for some of these things, and hoping that the results will be worth it.
Saigon is one of the world's busiest ports. It was never designed to be, but that's what it has become since the war started. There is 3 times more cargo than there is dock capacity, so ships have to wait to be unloaded. Sometimes they have to wait for months, 50 or more ships, just waiting. And when they are unloaded, a percentage of their cargo, perhaps 6%, perhaps 30%, depending on which ship you're talking about and which authority you believe, is siphoned off to the black market and to the racketeers. The police patrol the harbor searching for stolen goods, but the goods keep getting stolen. Theft has become a part of the routine on the Saigon docks, and to the people who live on the barges in the river, the search is also part of the routine. On the docks, as everywhere else in Saigon, the work moves at a deliberate Eastern pace, while the supervisors look on with Western impatience.
Okay, back up now. Back up.
I see the cargo coming out of the hatch and it makes my heart feel good, just like New York.
It's slower than we'd like it to be.
At the beginning it was a little rough, but things come along pretty good. We had the language barrier and lack of port equipment. And then the old-time methods of working here, they're behind about 50 years as far as working conditions. The only difference here is that they put women, longshoremen, to work. And they do a good day's work. And you'll find occasionally a pregnant woman amongst that gang, but she still works, but they just take it easy with her. You just got to go along with their way of doing things. It shows progress at the end. It does.
Last year, America spent $200 million on new buildings in Saigon. We created jobs for 16,000 men. We doubled the pay of unskilled laborers. This year, the work goes on. And if this year is anything like last year, we won't make any new friends among the workers.
Tại Hàn chẳng hạn, tôi thấy người ta có một cái ưu tiên đặc biệt. Riêng đối với người Việt Nam chúng tôi thì thấy không được một cái gì là cái ưu tiên cả. Chẳng hạn như người Đại Hàn thì có thể 5 giờ người ta đã có thể đi thay quần áo hay là ấy cả. The
feeling they have is the American doesn't make any consideration about the Vietnamese. It's very bad because the general feeling will be what they are thinking the American is against the Vietnamese.
Chúng tôi thấy có một vài cá nhân như vậy thì chúng tôi có một cái cảm nghĩ hình như hay là người Mỹ có thể áp bức chúng tôi. Tất cả thì có nghĩ đâu mình có
The general attitude of almost all the Americans around here, they are pretty hard with them. They need to see them changing their attitude. Otherwise, the feeling they have is they hate the Americans.
Many of the Vietnamese who criticize Americans speak more kindly of the French, their former colonial rulers. They say the French understood them better. The French, they say, had more style. The French are in a strange position, like their yacht club on the Saigon River. Next door to it is a Vietnamese army outpost. Across the river from it are the Viet Cong. And overhead are the American helicopters, flying low to see the bikinis. The French not only fought in Vietnam down the years, but also invested in it, and a few remain to protect their investment, which still amounts to more than $100 million. The Vietnamese government tolerates the French. The Americans actively dislike them on the theory that they got us into this mess.
American soldiers coming here, very often they have the feeling they come here because the French made a lot of mistakes in this country. It's probably true they made a lot of mistakes, but 150,000 of them died in this country fighting the Viet Minh, which was the Viet Cong today. Their only trouble, I think, they died a few years too early. There's no doubt the French could have done more, there's no doubt.
The French could have done more. The government which followed the French could have done more. The Americans who helped replace the government could have done more. The people of Saigon have had to suffer them all, living their lives on unclaimed land never meant to be lived on, such as this old French graveyard, living in places far from the villas and the seats of power, in jumbles of houses, along streets without names. In this house, with his family, lives a pedicab driver who has driven, in turn, the Japanese, the French, and the Americans. His name is Nguyen Van Dong. He says he wonders whether the Americans are here for themselves or for Vietnam. He thinks maybe for themselves.
Từ khi ngày Mỹ đến đây thì chúng tôi mần ăn cái khi trước chúng tôi mần ăn.
Before he walks very easily and he earned enough. Now since the arriving of the American, he earned a lot of money, but it's not enough for himself and for his family.
Cái gì tôi đâu có giao thiệp gì mà chúng tôi đâu
The
có
only
biết cái
connection he has with the American is just to take to drive them, but he has nothing beside of that, so he cannot make any judgment, and he doesn't like or dislike the American.
Nó ngại nó đi học khuya rồi về nó sợ cái người ta nó dỗ dành nó, cho nên là nó mắc những cái vòng đó, chúng tôi phải cẩn thận lo ngại về
About his daughter, he's worrying about very much because right now in Saigon, many girls go into prostitute. And he's very angry about the situation, and he's afraid so much. And every night he's waiting for his daughter, and sometimes he must come to the office to pick her back because he's afraid of something can happen to her daughter. Because around himself there's so many other girls he's going with the American. He works hard and he earns money, but he doesn't like money. What he wished is just to have peace and go back to his village up there in the north, near Hanoi.
East is east and west is west, and the twain which are met by daylight separate at night into their own worlds. Except in certain bars and hotels which cater to them, the Americans do not feel comfortable at night in this city. They have not come here like the Japanese in World War II as swaggering conquerors, or like the French as confident colonialists. They are soldiers who did not choose this place, and the Saigon night reminds them that they are strangers in a strange land.
America blame the Vietnamese because they see the Vietnamese take the money and they don't fight very hard or they don't work very hard. We have our own way of life. It may be bad, it may be good, we don't know. And you come to Asia and you behave as if you're still in America. More Americans should realize this futility of trying to change the Vietnamese and turn them into little Americans.
Shake it to the left, shake it to the right. You do the every shake with the head. Hey, come on and shake. I think the band. The baby shake.
It's a lucky place, period. There's 50 million bicycles, 25 million sickles, and you can't walk the street.
I'm glad I am in Saigon. I have buddies up in Da Nang. I've had a couple buddies killed out here from home, you know. But if I'm going to be in Vietnam, I guess it's Saigon. I mean,
I think women are pretty nice, the Oriental dolls.
They got some beautiful women over here, but they corrupt. They're corrupt. They're slick. They'll get you. They'll take your money. That's all there's to it. They'll take your money.
Well, I believe it. Everybody's out to make money off us.
There's an awful lot of troops in Saigon, and Saigon's awful big.
Yeah. Here number 10, here number 1. Here number 10, here number 1. Why here number 10? Why here number 1?
What time you feeling work tonight?
Hả?
What time you feeling work tonight?
Biết đâu ai biểu thằng quỷ này nó biểu ngon lắm.
I'm in.
Come on, do it for me. I'll buy you some Saigon tea. Oh, looks like I bought one anyhow.
Me buy you buku Saigon tea, you know, take me home. Sorry, y'all.
I think the band. The baby shake. The baby shake.
Celestial bar to here.
He says there's 2 sickles.
That's right.
2 sickles. They want 50p apiece for the 2 sickles.
Yeah. Yeah, no way will need it.
You keep quiet. What are you trying to celebrate? I'm not celebrating. All you Americans that do not belong here, not involved in this, I want you to move out immediately, and that is an order. Anyone remaining will be put on 1932. Now you better move if you're an American.
You see, there is one part of the Vietnamese which you cannot penetrate unless he allows you to penetrate. That is inner self. Each Vietnamese has an inner life, inner self. He won't allow you to come near him, really, until and unless he feels that you don't want anything from him. That you, whatever you do for him. It's not out of pity. It's not out of exploitation. It's just out of friendliness. If he knows and if he's convinced of it, he's yours. Not until then. You see. Come as friends and you will be treated as friends.
At curfew, the city no longer belongs to its own people. That is the strangest hour of all, when all that moves are the Americans on their way to war through the streets of Saigon.